Hello, hello. My name is Ritro. I am here on behalf of Bepsi, who asked me to commentate over this run and explain some of the tricks. Um, I guess that's about it. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Ritro0. That's RITRO0. Or on YouTube, just without the zero. And yeah, let's get into this.
Debería darle las gracias. Capturar a Bruce Wayne es mucho más fácil que a Batman. Y ahora que le tenemos,
So we're starting off here with some
ya puede empezar.
exposition. Basically here, Strange is telling us about the plot and what he's planning on doing and what he's, some empty threats about don't try to stop me. And in case you're wondering, the game is in Spanish because the dialogue is roughly 12 seconds faster than in English.
¿Qué diablos estás haciendo? ¿Creías que no íbamos a...? ¡Ayudadme! ¿Qué diablos estás haciendo? Bienvenido a Arkham City.
¿Qué haces tú aquí, güey?
¿Has matado a tu mayordomo?
Aquí dentro vas a morir.
Vas a ser mi esclavo, güey. Eres mío. Volved al suelo. ¿A qué estás esperando, güey? ¡Fila A, vamos!
Wayne, vas a la fila A.
Güey, dicen que el pingüino ha puesto precio a tu cabeza.
Vosotros
dos, apartaos. Güey, ven aquí de una vez.
Trabajaba. Y a ti. Bruce Wayne, te tengo en mi lista.
Por favor, pártele la cara.
Bang.
¡Muévete, preso!
Bajad las armas. El señor Wayne no causará problemas, ¿verdad, señor Wayne? Pero dejadle las esposas. Tampoco debemos ponérselo demasiado fácil, ¿verdad?
Cerrad las puertas. Preparad la...
Okay, so here we're getting inserted into Arkham City, which is this prison city experiment this corrupt Dr. Hugo Strange is running. This is Jack Ryder. He's a news reporter, and he's just basically complaining, just being in overall just pain. In just a second here, the doors are going to open, and we're going to beat up some thugs. There's really not much to it. We're just going to counter them to instantly take them out, because punching them doesn't actually really do much when you have cuffs on. Go figure. And then we're just going to help Jack Ryder up after he takes a beating.
Bienvenido al infierno, Bruce, muchacho. Luces fuera, ricachón.
So we have the first real trick of the run coming up. After Penguin talks to us and we break out of our handcuffs, we're gonna attempt to use some weird geometry to get a little bit of height and break out of this fight area and just climb without actually taking out any of the guys.
Digamos que es una venganza a la antigua usanza.
So here we try to counter them backwards because it's just a tiny bit faster. But here we go. Now that we've broken out of the cuffs, Bepsi here is going to attempt to use the geometry. Yep. And he crouches and uncrouches and it places him on the dumpster, and we would just continue like we would otherwise. It's a very precise angle, and Bepsi took no real lineup at all. Very impressive stuff. There's not really much to this tower climb as far as speed tactics go, except like very small optimizations. Like right there, we climb up one shimmy early, and we push off the edge of the little ace chemical sign to get moved where we want to be instead of doing a full another shimmy. Just little optimizations like that.
Alfred, le quita...
A todas las unidades, aquí Tiger Aire 4. Tenemos confirmación de que la presa 4011 está en los juzgados. Repito, Catwoman está en los juzgados.
So again here, this is another like exposition kind of intro cutscene here. There's not a whole lot to this segment. This could still technically be classed as the intro, even though most people wouldn't say it is.
Eso no suena nada bien.
There's not really a whole lot we can do this early in the game, but there are a couple tricks that we're going to do as soon as Pepsi gets into the courthouse here.
Hay una persona en Arkham City que sepa qué está pasando de verdad. Es ella. Tengo que encontrar a Catwoman enseguida.
So here in this hallway, Pepsi does what's called roll cancels, which is essentially just using quick fire gadget in the back claw while, you know, rolling, which, as the name would suggest, cancels the roll and just makes you flip over and over and over again without slowing down. And then you might have caught during that fight that we didn't actually really take anybody out.
Que localizar por...
That's because we do a takedown move and then use the same thing, the quick fire back claw, to interrupt the animation and just make it go by instantly. We call those ground takedown cancels.
La trayectoria de la bala me llevará...
Now Bepsi's going to try to go through the window and glide all the way to the door, and we're going to make our way to the church.
¿Sigue ahí dentro? Eso creo. Se oye alguien ahí dentro. Cierra bien esa puerta, tío. No quiero verme cara a cara con Batman.
¿Tienes frío?
Claro que tengo frío. Aquí fuera estamos como a 10 bajo cero. Tranquilo.
So Bepsi did that really well there. You basically want to land behind the thugs who are sitting outside of the church here and enter the door before they get a chance to see you. It's one of the harder fight skips in the game, and Pepsi just nails it.
Creo que deberías hacer lo que dice. Sería una lástima que me manchase de sangre este conjunto tan bonito. ¿Qué me dices, murcielaguito? ¿Te gusta? ¿Pero qué digo? ¡Claro que te gusta! ¿Y a quién no? En fin, la cosa está así. Mr. J no está para muchas visitas ahora mismo. No se encuentra muy bien y esa idiota de la doctora que le he enviado no le ha ayudado. Hasta estos pringaos son más espabilados. Estos chicos te mantendrán entretenido. Si intenta algo raro, ¡matadle!
So Harley's gonna leave now. That was Harley Quinn, in case you weren't aware. And we're gonna try to take out all these guys. Now you might be asking, how do we do that? Well, you see, gonna throw down smoke, go up to a gargoyle, and do a tutorial. Just kidding, we're actually gonna skip that by just not doing it.
Nos va a pillar.
Instead, we're just gonna flip over these guys and pretend nothing happened, and they're just gonna forget we're there. So we'll take them both out.
Estás a salvo. No haga ruido.
sala está
Hola, caballero.
asegurada. Ya estáis a salvo.
So Bepsi grabs a trophy there for XP.
Debería investigar.
Now we're going to shorten a bit of dialogue here. So when we turn to look at this rifle, the one that we scanned in the courthouse earlier, Batman starts talking about how, you know, there's the gun. Well, if we try to go down the hatch that we just came up from, Batman will say, like, I need to investigate this crime scene further, and it'll just be a little bit faster. So that's just a small little dialogue skip we can do.
Alfred, he aislado la señal que sirve de control remoto para el rifle. Joker está detrás de esto.
¿Es que había alguna duda?
Voy ya por él. La señal de radio debería llevarme directamente hasta él.
Buena suerte, señor.
Míralos comiendo basura como cerdos. La banda del payaso. Cuidado, Batman.
So here Bepsi's gonna intentionally grapple straight into the balloon to get some more experience. He's basically just trying to get enough XP in the early game so he doesn't really need to stress about it later on.
Y escuchadme bien. Como sabéis, Mr. J está
Alfred, tengo que encontrar.
mismo. Y lo que menos necesita es que un supuesto...
All right, so this section coming up here is like a kind of like a tutorial section where we're taught about sliding, going underneath things, and walking along railings. But we're gonna skip that by taking advantage of the lack of collision on as far as landing on the railing goes in this area, and then just kind of gliding across and skipping all that.
Creer que está enfermo y luego ¡pum! Ya os tiene. No lo sé, tío.
Os prometí un poco de entretenimiento, ¿no, chicos? Por favor, he hecho lo que he podido. Ese pedazo de inútil ha fallado a Mr. J y ya sabéis qué significa. ¡Ayuda! Cambio de planes. Llevadla a la cámara de esmaltado. Mr. J quiere que esta sufra un poco más. Está bien. Y el resto de vosotros, idiotas, largaos de aquí. Ya sabéis lo que tenéis que hacer. Id a por el muñeco de nieve y traedme
All right, so now we're going to get out of the vents here and try to take everybody out as fast as possible.
Le necesito aquí
Looks like Bepsi is going for the Riddler challenge of getting a 20 combo. Also for experience. Although I imagine once he gets 20... Oh, never mind. Thought he was going to go for some ground takedown cancels, but ended up working out for him.
Alfred, el Joker está encerrado.
Nadie ha dicho nada de que viviera el murciélago.
So now this is our first little stealth encounter.
¿Qué te pasa? Es que
This is more of a tutorial, but you're not really supposed to go through the door. If you try to, Batman will say, like, I can't let them expose me, or I can't expose myself to these guys with guns. And you're supposed to take them out stealthily, but we just kind of break through the window because speed. And also notice how Bepsi pulled off the grate there just before entering this room. That's for a small skip coming up after this encounter.
Está aquí. No le dejéis entrar.
So this is a real Predator room. And as soon as we beat this and save the doctor sitting in there,
Iré a ver.
we're gonna get a gadget, which is gonna be the gadget we use for basically every glitch, trick, skip in the game. This is the remote electric charge, or wreck as we like to call it. And it is very broken. Alright, so here coming through the door, Beth is going to put down some gel and go through the grate. And detonate the gel to alert these guys and skip a little tutorial about using the wreck gun in combat. And now that we have this wreck gun, what we can do is cancel doors. So instead of opening them normally and waiting for the animation to play out, what we do is just kind of use the wreck gun before opening it, and it cancels the door, it opens it, just plays out the wreck animation, then you're free to move. It's about a half second faster for each door you do it on. Now there we grabbed a thing called standing storage. This is a long cutscene, so I'll go ahead and try to explain it now. As you shoot and fire the wreck gun, it's a long animation. So if you cancel it by switching to another gadget midway through, and then firing after or before, the animation doesn't get a chance to play out, but it still wants to. So you can use that at any point, and it'll take priority over most animations in the game. So you can use it to interrupt a lot of animations. So in this instance in particular, we were hanging from a ledge. And what we're supposed to do is climb up and then do a little mini boss. But instead of doing that, we activate our standing storage here, fall down a little bit, and then climb up, which makes us climb up in a different way that doesn't trigger the fight. So instead, we just go straight into the cutscene. Standing storage also has another use, which is a lot more useful, and you'll see as the run starts to progress more. But yeah, the wreck gun is very broken. If you're curious what's going on in this cutscene, Joker is basically saying that he's sick. This is the whole plot of the game right here being explained. He's saying he's sick, he's sent out his blood to emergency rooms all over the city. We learn that he has no idea what Protocol 10 is, which is what Batman's been trying to figure out this whole time.
Alfred, el Joker.
So now we're gonna go try to track down Mr. Freeze, because he was working on a cure for Joker's illness, and he just kind of went rogue.
Freeze debe estar por aquí. Está claro que se dirige al punto más frío.
So Batman uses his bat tech to track down the lowest temperature in the city, because, you know, whatever, comic logic. And we find our way here at the GCPD. So another small little time save we have here is we're going to use what we call a wreck double shot, where we both fire the wreck gun manually, as well as using the quick fire mechanic at the same time and just shooting two wreck bullets at the same time. So the one you shoot manually would open the door here, and the one we shoot with the quick fire alerts the guys, makes them shoot off the gun, which distracts them and lets us get in without being shot, and also gives us experience for a Riddler challenge. We're going to clear out this Predator now, starting off with a ground takedown, and then taking out these three guys here with smoke, and then more ground takedowns. This last guy is going to give up. We're going to interrogate him. He's going to tell us the Penguin kidnapped Freeze, took him to the museum, and that's where we're going to head.
Eso no suena bien. Alfred.
So we have a nice, quick little interaction with Alfred there that we skipped. Just Alfred, hola. Basically, we needed the codes to hack this thing so we could open the door and get out of here. And Alfred just happens to have that on standby or something. Okay, so now that we get out of here, we're going to do what we call corner zips. Basically, we're going to aim any gadget in a corner, basically, twice. But before the second animation of aiming gets a chance to play, we're going to break out of the corner, which will jolt your camera and actually breaks you out of the corner. So you're still, like, in the kind of position you would be if you were in the corner, but you're not actually tied to it. So throwing a gadget, the game doesn't know where to send you, so it launches you towards the origin point of the map. In this particular case, it helps us get over to this side of the map very quickly there. And we're at the museum now, so we're just going to take out a bunch of guys. And head on in.
Hemos perdido una cámara en el sector 1.
Bienvenidos al Instituto de Historia Natural Cyrus Picnic.
But of course, it's not that simple, right? We go to hack this to let down the security so we can get through, and what do you know? Our communications are jammed.
Algo está bloqueando la comunicación con la Batcueva. El pingüino estará usando disruptores de comunicaciones militares. La única forma de superar esta seguridad es destruyéndolos.
So we're going to go and take out Penguin's 3 disruptors because Batman has yet another gadget in his suit to track down jammers somehow. Here, Bepsi's going to buy some upgrades, which is what he's been getting experience for an upgrade called Multi-Ground Takedown, which allows him to take down multiple guys who are floored at once once he reaches a certain point in this combo. So see there, he takes out all but one and then just finishes off the last guy. And then we're just going to cancel these jammers the same way we do with the door. We're going to head off to the second one.
¿Qué está pasando ahí fuera? Una de las señales del disruptor ha desaparecido. Lo siento, señor Commentated. No lo sé. Pues entérate. Y de paso asegúrate de que el otro disruptor está a salvo de...
So we're going to kind of just ignore the guys who are shooting us because we could take it. And then we're going to grab storage here by going into the corner and just quick firing a battering, which is abusing the game's memory system. It remembers that corner for some reason. And then we're going to go on top of the billboard, initiate standing storage, and this is what I was talking about earlier with the better use. If you activate standing storage while you have storage on a battering or the RC battering, you can go into that corner while not actually being in the corner, which gives you the same result as if you were breaking off a corner as we did before. So we use that to zip out of bounds and just skip going through the subway by just gliding into the room with the jammer. Now you also might have noticed Batman did a thing where he just kind of gained a lot of height going off the ledge there. Basically what that was is we interrupt the animation of rolling off an edge by aiming and firing the rec gun, which for whatever reason gives us a whole bunch of height, and we use that to get into the room there. So we do another corner zip to get out of bounds again, so we can skip going through the subway again. And then we're just going to kind of do this really awkward kind of setup to hit the load zone and get back in bounds here. So now that the jammers are taken out, we're going to go back into the museum and we're going to attempt the fight skip here. By same idea, just landing behind these guys without them seeing you.
Bienvenidos al Instituto de Historia Natural Cyrus Picnic. Todos los visitantes deberán ser registrados como parte de nuestro firme compromiso para mantenerles a salvo y proteger la inigualable colección que tenemos expuesta.
No te lo pedí.
So we can get through. We're just going to take out these 3 guys who are harassing a cop. Then we're going to grab storage here on this corner by throwing a batarang. Then we're going to talk to this cop and head towards the door. Now Batman's got to scan for something, which locates the cops somehow. And this is where the first real major skip of the run happens. So we're going to cancel this door, but not actually go through, which deloads the room we're in. And we're going to grapple up to this hanging raft in the ceiling and just do a setup to get in the right position. And then do a kind of awkward, not quite fast, but also not slow zip to get out of bounds. I'm going to dive bomb twice for distance, dive towards this room to load it in. Now we're inside the room, and boom, it loads in. And we're going to go towards this door. This skips a good chunk of gameplay where we fight a whole group of guys. And then, as you see, Bepsi doing more of the roll cancels. And yeah, it's a double out of bounds. It's not, when we enter the door, it's actually going to load the room we were standing in that we weren't actually standing in instead of this room. So we reload checkpoint. It's really confusing. And now we're going to do yet another trick, and you'll never guess what gadget we used to exploit it. That's right, the rec gun. So when you place down a quick-fire explosive gel and detonate it, for whatever reason the game remembers that spot. And if you do some weird timing with firing the rec gun and then placing down the gel right after, the gel can try to warp back to that original spot. So we call it gel warp. And this is the first and only time we ever use it in the run. What we're doing is trying to get the gel to go onto the wall to detonate the wall without placing the gel manually, which would trigger another mini boss. So by getting the warping the quick-fire gel onto the wall, it explodes without triggering the fight, and we just progress as if nothing happened. So we're going to do another rec jump here to gain some height and skip walking slowly across the ice. Now we're going to head towards the second room where Mr. Freeze's suit is. So we cancel this door, try to get in and look down, which skips a little tutorial about these guys using thermal vision, which just tells us that they can see us on gargoyles now, so we got to be careful. But yeah, just not looking at it triggers it not happening for some reason. So yeah, we take all these guys out. Looks like Bepsi's gonna grab some more breakables for experience. And he gets a little unlucky here with this guy taking forever to stand up. So now we took the gadget here from Freeze's suit called the Disruptor, which is just here to, which Freeze had implanted in his suit in case someone else ever used one of his weapons against him, which is convenient for us because the Penguin actually has the gun, which we're going to use the Disruptor for in a second. So now we're going to go into the Iceberg Lounge, which is Penguin's club, and we're going to pay him a visit, give him a piece of our mind. So he's going to try to shoot us at every door, but we're just going to slide under it and pretend that he's not there. So we use the Disruptor on him and punch him in the face. Although Bepsi, being Bepsi, he punches at the earliest possible time, which, funny enough, doesn't actually connect the punch and just plays out the animation. And you clip inside Penguin. It's pretty funny. We call it a whiff. It doesn't actually save time in and of itself, but it's the result of punching at the earliest possible time. So now we're fighting Grundy. And we gotta take out these little things on the floor using the quick-fire gel. After we beat Grundy's head up here, waiting for the word Buscando there from Penguin, and then we reload checkpoint because there was a secret checkpoint save there. And it just brings us immediately into the second phase of the fight instead of watching the cutscene for it. So now he's going to grab standing storage. Not for anything particularly useful, just for jokes here. So Batman is here going to try to rip out his heart or something like that, and Grundy grabs him. But since we use standing storage, he doesn't actually grab us. This doesn't save any time. It's just kind of a funny thing that some runners like to do. Alright, so now we're going to do the third and final phase here. Take out these 3 things again. And that's going to mark the end of the fight. So now we're going to tear out his rib cage and then rip out his heart because, you know, Batman doesn't kill and all that. But right here, we actually get yet another hidden checkpoint. So we reload there, we skip like just a little kind of cutscene where Penguin shows us that he has the gun. We just kind of skip it by reloading checkpoint. There we go, we do a triple cape stun, which just takes him out a little bit faster than doing a beatdown. And we're off to our next adventure. Alright, so this is another pretty major skip that we've got going on here, excuse me. Some people like to call it ninja skip. Some people like to call it Robin skip. But basically, we scan that blood there. We follow a blood trail through the city to try to track down a ninja who works for Ra's al Ghul, because Ra's al Ghul's blood was like exposed to something that Freeze needs for the cure. But instead of actually doing that and then doing the long chase with the ninja, we're going to do another corner zip here. Get out of bounds. And we're going to enter the processing chamber, which is the building we started the game off in. You may recognize this from the very first minute of the run. So this is the area that we would eventually have gotten to going a long way by chasing the ninja and then following her through a tracker. But we just go here without doing that, and the room's just kind of loaded anyways. In doing so, we skip getting a pretty important gadget, but it doesn't end up mattering because we can just cancel the door, the entrance to this room, and then recancel it to load it back in, and then we have the gadget for some reason. I guess the game does a check to that when you go through this door, you need to have the line launcher. So after we save this doctor here, that's what we're going to do. Nice little visual glitch there. Alright, so now she's saved and we're going to go back to the entrance to this room. Well, the main entrance to this room, anyways. And like I said, we're going to cancel the door, so the game thinks we're on the other side of this door. And now we have the line launcher. And we're going to cancel it again. The reason we don't just go through the door normally is just because you saw the thugs there. We don't want to fight them. This is yet another skip. We call this one Dead Parents skip. So we deload the room by canceling the door, go through so we can get some kind of normalcy as far as the perspective in the camera, and then go back through the door so we're not stuck in first person. Then we're going to go up to a gargoyle, we go into standing storage and zip out of bounds, and we're just going to glide past this whole section here where we would be kind of painstakingly, tediously scanning these ninjas. So we're just going to skip that by gliding past, like I said, and then canceling this grate here so we would be where we would otherwise. That also skips a cutscene where Bruce sees his parents and they tell him to step into the light, but of course he doesn't because he's Batman and Batman doesn't die. So the gates never open, so we have to do this weird parkour to get up and over the gate. So we're going to climb out of bounds here, get onto this little ledge, and then glide past the gate. And then we can just kind of hit the trigger for this cutscene by just going past it. And there we go. Skip done.
Miles de guerreros han caído en su búsqueda del demonio. Los posibles sucesores han demostrado no ser nada más que unos niños, luchando contra la enormidad de la creación.
He visto cosas peores.
Nada puede prepararte para lo que viene ahora. El destino decidirá tu suerte.
No fallaré.
He escuchado esas palabras cientos de veces. Esperemos que tengas razón. Tu viaje comienza atravesando este...
Okay, so now we're going to do the trials, which is drinking from that cup in front of him, in front of Batman here, and going through some weird hallucination. We got to follow Raish and not touch anything, except what we're meant to touch. So we're going to drink this and start the hallucination process. And we're in the trials. Pepsi isn't waiting here for any particular reason, in case you're wondering. He's just kind of waiting because there's not much you can do right now. You have to wait for Raish to finish here. And we're going to glide up to this first platform here. This first platform is kind of just to tell us basically what we're doing. There's nothing special up here. Looks like Bepsi's going to grab Critical Strike's upgrade here to take out the enemies a little faster. Looks like Bepsi was trying to fight Raish there. And we're going off to the second platform where we're going to have our first fight of the trials. So Bepsi's going for a strategy we call the kick and boom here. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out for him. But the idea is you want to place down Gel, knock a ninja off balance, and then detonate it so they fall off. It ended up not working for him there, which is a little bit unfortunate, but not a big deal at all. So we hop through this first portal, and we're in the second phase of the trials now. Pepsi gets really fortunate with his placement there off the dive bomb being right against the edge. And again, this platform isn't really much of anything. It's just kind of, I suppose, a checkpoint.
La pequeña cantidad que te he permitido beber solo te mantendrá con vida unas pocas pero valiosas horas. Es hora de que tomes la decisión definitiva.
So this is the fourth, I believe, and final platform here, where we're going to have a much bigger fight this time. We're going to have a whole 4 ninjas. So he's going to go for the kick and boom strategy again, it seems, and this time it works out for him. And he's going to use these critical strikes to take out the ninjas as fast as possible. And then as soon as that portal ahead opens up, we'll be done with the trials and we can go to see Raish. Pepsi got a cool little thing there where Batman just immediately is standing up when the scene fades in. We don't know exactly what causes it, but it saves a little bit of time over what's supposed to happen, where Batman does the whole superhero pose and then slowly stands up. Again, we don't really know what causes it. It seems to just be luck at this point, but nonetheless, good play from Pepsi. So in that cutscene we skipped, we asked Raish for his blood, and he's like, nope, you gotta kill me. Take over my place as the leader of this league. And so we start hallucinating for some reason, and we're gonna fight him in this weird scene. That's just kind of a combat encounter. And then we go into the real meat of the boss fight here. He takes out standing storage there to interrupt being pushed back by the force of Raish popping up from the ground. And Bepsi did it really well and fast there, but the idea is you want to shoot Raish with the rec gun while there's an opening. And that's the first phase of the fight done. So now Talia's, who's Raish's daughter and Batman's lover, is going to try to convince us to kill him here. But of course, Batman doesn't kill, so instead we're going to give Raish permanent brain damage.
Acepta tu destino. Acepta nuestro destino.
Sabes que no puedo hacer eso, Talia.
Entonces, amado mío, tendrás que morir.
So here a bunch of ninjas are going to pop up and we have to counter them all at once. And we just kind of use the mouse wheel to counter faster than just spamming the counter button over and over again. A little bit of a time save. And so now we've got the second phase again. Here with the whole shooting Raish. Bepsi does some roll cancels to get into position faster. And he's gonna try to shoot Raish here, and that ends the fight. Now he's gonna collect standing storage again by interrupting the animation. And this is one of the funniest sequence breaks you'll ever see. Alright, so essentially what happened there is we used standing storage to break out of the animation of Batman slamming Raish's head on the ground, and then skips the whole cutscene where we have to use the remote control battering to stop Raish from killing his daughter. And we kind of throw batterings to simulate that, and it just works for some reason, which is good for us because we get to keep the RC battering storage we got all the way back in the beginning. Then we zip to this area, which is deloaded. Yet again, another double out of bounds, so we have to reload checkpoint. But now we're just going to leave the way we came in, which is the same out of bounds. Alright, so the way we're going to get back in bounds now is just go underneath the city and grapple up to kind of an awning that has a grapple point for some reason. And then head towards the loading zone, which will load in the map. Just like that. Now, if you played Arkham Asylum, the prequel to this game, the guy these people are beating on here is Quincy Sharp, who's the former warden of Arkham Asylum and currently the mayor of Arkham City. So we have to interrogate him to find out what he knows or whatever. And now that we have Raish's blood, we're going to head over to Freeze in the GCPD again. Try to give him a sample so he can complete the cure. So Batman isn't going to be sick. And Joker's going to not die, hopefully. So we're just going to kind of ignore these guys, just enter the building without wanting to deal with them, and just go to see Freeze. So in this cutscene here, Freeze demands that Batman finds his wife, who Hugo Strange had kidnapped, And Batman doesn't want to do that because he's dying. So Freeze crushes the cure, and now we're fighting. This boss fight is a really good boss fight. You can only take Freeze out in so many ways, but once you do it in one way, you can never do it again. We start off by kicking him in the face. And then we're going to line launch into him. Next thing we're going to do is place gel on this wall and blow it up in his face. Which only hurts him and not Batman, by the way. And then Freeze is going to hopefully follow Bepsi's footsteps here and walk into this pool of water, which conveniently has electric wires running straight into it. And we're going to zap him. So now the fight's over, and we're just going to wail on him. So now Freeze gives us a gadget to go find Nora. But we're not going to do that. But we are going to take the gadget, though. Now, if you've played Arkham City for a long time, you'd be familiar with this video where the guy hops on a billboard and then throws some freeze grenades and just starts hovering. We're going to use that a little bit later on. But as for right now, there's this cutscene that if we move forward with trigger where Vicky Vale, the local news reporter, her helicopter would get shot down by Joker. And instead, we're just going to get a checkpoint by doing a Riddler challenge and reloading, which is going to put us outside of the cutscene trigger. And we're going to take out the guys who are currently holding her hostage with their snipers. So the upgrade that Bepsi just bought is it's called Disarm Batclaw. Essentially, you'd Batclaw someone with a gun, and it pulls their gun out of their grip. So in this situation specifically, we use that to pull their guns off the ledge so they can no longer be a threat to Vicky. And it's just a little bit faster than actually taking them out. So now that Vicky's rescued, we're going to head to Joker and, I don't know, something about the cure. But first, we're going to get standing storage on this gargoyle, which is going to store, instead of the standing animation, the animation of being on a gargoyle, which we'll use in just a second. It's for a gargoyle zip, which you'll see. But first, before any of that, we got to get, we're going to enter the steel mill here from the back entrance, but we're going to do it from out of bounds. So to do that, we're going to enter through this little oversight in the geometry and just enter the door from out of bounds. But we can't just open it normally because we'll step into the Predator encounter and the game will think we're in the Predator encounter. So when we get through, we won't be able to open the door. So instead what we do is cancel it so we never step foot in the Predator and the game doesn't think we're in it. So Bepsi does a gargoyle zip there, which takes him way out of bounds really fast. Using the standing storage that he got in the gargoyle, and then he loads to this room, which loads in around him, which skips this whole long, slow rafting section with the freeze grenade using it as a raft or whatever. And then another double out of bounds, so we reload checkpoint again, and we're in the steel mill. We call that Stacy Skiv. So here we're going to take this guy out, throw some batarangs at him, and then he's going to grab storage on his remote-controlled batarang. And he uses the gel there to take down 3 guys all at once. And we're going to pull these 2 guys off the edge. But don't worry, they're fine. This guy doesn't seem to be cooperating, which is a little unfortunate. So we're just going to kind of ignore that guy with the sniper and head on past Harley here, who's tied up. And we're going to go pay Joker a visit. First, before we do that, we're going to do a little kind of minor skip here where we throw smoke, which distracts these guys with the snipers here, which lets us skip the fight encounter with them and the other guys who are sitting on the floor. So now you'll notice Joker is looking a lot better and wonder why that is, and you'll see. But this is a really big combat encounter, which is notoriously difficult, but Pepsi is a professional, folks, so I imagine there's not much to worry about. General agreed upon strategy here is to take out the first and second wave of these guys with a multi-ground, just like this. Keep your combo, hit Joker, and take out the second wave. Unfortunately, Batman's targeting system got a little messed up there. But then we placed down the gel manually, and the advantage of doing that over a quickfire is just it has a much bigger range of where the explosive will hit. But we take out Mr. Hammer to get a giant combo, detonate the gel to take out a bunch of guys, or put them on the floor at least, and then multi-ground a bunch of people at once. So now we're going to try to use the gel to stun this Titan guy here. We're going to take out those guys using some clever Titan strats. Then we're going to cancel taking him down with the backlaw, quickfire, and then take out Joker. And that ends the fight. So now, if you remember the storage we got in the Predator room while first entering the steel mill here, we're going to use that now. So what the game wants us to do here is very slowly scan 6 helicopters and then go down through the sewers and watch a long cutscene and then do a Predator room and then use an elevator. But instead, we're just going to zip out of bounds, go down and skip the helicopters. And that's just going to kind of work for us. So by doing this, we don't actually get the codes that we would get from scanning the helicopter, so we can't hack the elevator even if we wanted to. But that's fine, because we're going to do an entirely different skip. So we're going to grab storage here on the RC and regular battering. And then he's going to cancel this door and very quickly go into railing storage and start chucking freeze grenades. So what that does is allows us to freeze hover like this, and when the room is deloaded. So the game currently thinks we're in the Predator room in front of us, but in reality, we're skipping that by just hovering above it. So now we're going to do another freeze hover right next to the elevator shaft, which will hopefully load in the tower here. And that should slowly deload the guys in the Predator room and the Predator room itself. And now we throw exactly 58 grenades. Okay, so now we're on the tower, but the upper tower itself where we're trying to get to isn't actually loaded. So to do that, we're going to do what's basically a water warp without the water. And then when we look up, it'll load the tower. And now the top of the tower is loaded in. If the Predator room hadn't deloaded properly, that would have meant that the tower couldn't have loaded. It's just a weird thing. So yeah, we get the missile launch detected, which triggers the Predator guys, I think. And then we just kind of skip the whole climbing section by grappling up to the top. And then we do a wreck jump and just grapple up there without activating the AI by using the sequencer to do things the way it's intended. So these guys' AI isn't actually active right now, so they can't hear us or see us. So we're just gonna take them out, not bothering about sound, not worrying about sound or anything because they can't hear us anyways. We launch those two guys off the edge, and this guy should be right here jumping off. And that's the last guy, and now we can go confront Hugo. Pepsi gets a very good hack there. So we learned there that Raish was the mastermind behind Arkham City, and that Hugo Strange was just kind of his puppet. And they both die in that cutscene that we skipped, and somehow Joker knows where we are, and he's broadcasting this to us, telling us that he has Talia, who's, you know, Batman's love interest from before. And we gotta go save her now, and confront Joker. But first we gotta watch this, like, minute-and-a-half long cutscene.
La protagonista podría parecer muerta en su camerino.
Alright, so now we're going to head on over to the Monarch Theater, which, fun fact, is the theater where Batman's parents were killed outside of. And we're going to do that same thing from before, where we take these sniper rifles out of these guys' hands, instead of just taking them all out individually. Except for the ones that aren't really possible, such as this guy here. So him we're going to take out manually. And the same thing with this guy right in front of us. But Pepsi first takes him out, and then we take this guy out. And there's just the two guys in front of the door. We take them out with a quick ground takedown cancel. And a ground takedown cancel. And into the theater we go. So now we learned that the healthy looking Joker wasn't Joker at all. It was Clayface. So we're going to fight Clayface. And even though he has the cure, which we see in the cutscene that we skip, he, for whatever reason, doesn't give it to Joker. And Joker's just okay with that. But yeah, no. Those bombs there's one in each corner. You're supposed to get Clayface to roll into them, which detonates them, but you can actually just detonate them with the quickfire gel manually. So yeah, Clayface will always do two attack cycles and then either roll or jump. It's random which one he starts with, but he'll always alternate. So he'll like jump, do two different kinds of attacks, and then he'll roll. And then he'll do two different attacks, and then he'll jump. It works like that. So Pepsi nails the first bomb. He takes out the second one with the roll. He's going to place gel on the back bombs, which are a lot harder to place. But Pepsi nails it. Oh, and the reason he's letting Clayface hit him is just because Clayface taunt animation is faster than literally all of his attacks. So we just let him like hit us and it's faster. But that's the first phase done. Done very well as well. Now we're going to grab the sword from off his back and slice him in pieces.
Vas a hacer que llegue tarde a mi spa. Además, ya no tienes que salvar a ninguna chica, ¿verdad? Uy, lo siento. ¿Muy pronto? ¿Un cambio de paisaje te ayudaría a olvidar el dolor?
So we're in the second phase of the fight here, which is the last bit of the run. There's a little bit of a strategy here, which you'll kind of see. Essentially, you just want to fight these clay minion guys here until the orange boss bar in the top right reaches nothing. But little do we actually know, you can actually kind of hit Clayface while he's in the puddle mode here. The idea is he's going to come out and you're going to throw grenades in his mouth to freeze him up like that, which does like a bunch of his health. But if you actually just spam a bunch of grenades before he pops out originally, and then continue throwing grenades at him until he's no longer hittable when he's in the puddle form like this, then you can actually skip one phase of him popping out of the puddle, which just saves a little bit of time. So like here, that was only the third time he popped up, and he skips the fourth one by being Bepsy. And time ends on interacting with Clayface here. So for style points, Bepsy goes ahead and cancels it. So he's not actually inside Clayface now, grabbing the vial. But that's about it. And that's where it stands. So it's been fun, everybody. I've been Ritro. You can find me again on twitch.tv/Ritro0. That's RITRO0. Obviously, drop Bepsy a follow. It's xBepsy. And everyone, have a good one.
Holy shit, man. God, Ginger's so loud. Oh, I'm playing music, I forgot. I'm gonna go to Discord for a second. Good lord. Alright. Oh my god, man. What a run. That was really, really good. Turn my music down. Alright, well, it wouldn't be me if I didn't, acknowledge the mistakes. What even happened? Didn't get first try jail warp, the second try, what else? Am I recording, by the way? I am, okay, wonderful news. What else? I remember the Talia section. That was not too great, or the underground section to get to Talia. The Predator was not very good, and just the movement was really meh. I can't really think of much off the top of my head. Oh, I should probably look at those like split things I have, right? Yeah. I have no idea how the cutscene is playing, by the way, while I'm scrolling through my thing. I thought it pauses, but I guess not. Oh yeah, I had a pretty weak steel mill. Remember that? That funhouse fight was, Actually, it was bad. It was a bad fight. Yeah, Reach was really good. The trials themselves could definitely be better. I lost time on freeze somehow. I'm guessing I just did the new strat wrong. You're supposed to save like 2 or 3 seconds, but yeah, I guess I didn't do it the right way. Yeah, funhouse. And then everything else was pretty good, not gonna lie. I guess I could have had better RNG with the snipers. And, you know, maybe double bomb or something. But damn, what a run. I'm very proud of this, and I have no idea how we're gonna shave off 39 seconds. That sounds ridiculous. But yeah, one flat. That is amazing.